me a right to screen the presentation, please? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Didi. Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and we want to greet the Chair and the honorable members of the Select Committee and appreciate the opportunity given to us to present to the Select Committee our annual report 2019-2020 and of course our financial report. We take this very seriously as it is part of the constitutional mandate of Parliament to hold the executive accountable, but also following the budget vote where in Parliament approved money to be spent by the Department of Public Service and Administration in order, through the implementation of its annual performance plan, which is part of the strategic plan for the department. I want to say, Chairperson, to the honorable members that we come with some excitement as the department, as we have been given by the Auditor General of South Africa a clean bill when it comes to audit opinion. We bring unqualified audit opinion without any matters at all, and therefore a clean audit opinion for the Department of Public Service and Administration, but also for the National School of Government, for CPSI, and of course for the Chapter 10 institution, which of course is not our entity, but of course we work together with them. All of them have received clean audit from the Auditor General. And also the fact that we have achieved most of our targets. The department achieved, except for one target, all other targets. And we're happy about that. We have achieved most of the presentation from the DPSA will indeed cover one target, all other targets, and it will cover the achievements against the implementation of the 2019-2020 annual performance plan, financial performance, and human resource information, and will cover the achievements against the implementation. But Chairperson, we thank you for keeping us on our toes, financial performance, and for having kept us on our toes during the past financial year, and I believe that your holding us accountable, keeping us resulted in what we are reporting today, the clean audit opinion. I'm not going to take long. I will hand over to the DG to present, as I've said, our annual report, including the financial performance. Thank you very much, Chair. Hand over to the DG to
Thanks, DM, for that opening remarks. Indeed, that is good news. That is good news. Clean audit for that opening must be appreciated. We are proud of the department. That is over to you, DG. That is good news. Clean audit for that opening must be appreciated.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will take you through the first part of the report, which focuses, thank you, Chairperson, the annual report. I've just added a few slides to give an update, which focus progress update on some of the work that we've been busy as the department, and some of the issues that have received much attention during the course of this current financial year, just to also show that how we are carrying forward some of the work from the previous annual report from the previous financial year. Just to also show that how we are carrying forward some of the work. So basically, that's the broad outline of the presentation. And in terms of our introduction, yes, we received a clean audit. So basically, that's the broad outline of the presentation. We're quite excited about that. And in terms of our introduction, yes, we received the challenge will be now to maintain the clean audit so that we don't regress as a department, and we're working hard to ensure that we don't regress as a department. to maintain in terms of performance information, which is the substantive part of our work. As the department, we achieved 97% of the targets to maintain. In terms of performance information, 34 targets, and we have one target that is which is the substantive part of our work. The targets are spread as follows in respect to the various departments or to the various programs in the department. Administration, we have 6 targets, they achieved all 6. Spread as follows in respect to policy development, we have 8 targets, they achieved 7 programs in the department. The third program, which is around the employment and conditions of service, they had 7 targets, they achieved all 7. The fourth one, government chief information officer, they had 4 and they achieved all 4. Service delivery had 6 targets and they achieved all 6. Governance of public administration had 4 targets and they achieved all 4. And the total is 35 and 34, we achieved 1 and not achieved. Just in terms of administration, just briefly on the targets, we in terms of the interim and annual financial statements, we just submitted treasury as per the stipulated time frames. Our biannual reports on the compliance with BE also submitted. Our quarterly reports on the implementation of the APT also submitted to relevant authorities. Our progress reports on implementation of internal audit and risk management as well. Quarterly reports some of the projects that were internal audit focus included audits on human resources, asset management, supply chain, financial statements and information technology. Our report on compliance to financial management, HRS, labor relations, we submitted. We do this quarterly. We do on a quarterly basis our own assessment of compliance. Amongst those areas covered in the report are areas of compliance such as strategic management, audit and risk management. Quarterly reports on the implementation of our bilateral and multilateral agreements also submitted to in terms of program 2, which is policy development, research and analysis. Here the first target, the first 2 targets relate to the Office of Standards, and this office has since been established. So the work that was set for this financial year was achieved. Then I think the other area relates to report in respect to non-compliance areas within the public service, legislative and regulatory prescripts as identified in the 2017 AG. We worked with 8 non-compliance areas in the report and the departments that are affected. Report on the revised public administration performance information areas for inclusion in the annual report format for auditing by AG. We've done that, and the report on the revised public the performance report has since been annual report format for template has since been updated to include those particular the report on the implementation of recommendations made towards establishment of a national administration to support the Public Administration Management Act was also submitted. Report on the implementation of these are issues that relate to implementation administration to support the PAMA Act Management Act was also submitted. Organizational productivity assessment. This is a project now. This was still at a research stage and it was completed. This is a project now that's ongoing. We have a number of departments that have signed up to pilot. State of readiness of departments for organizational functionality is now that's ongoing. We have a number of departments. This one target that was not achieved relates to the consultations that were supposed to be undertaken in respect to the draft white paper for the transformation in the organization. The white paper itself was done, the draft, but it was submitted at the end of the financial year. Therefore, the consultations couldn't take place within the financial year. I will speak a little bit in detail about it, but it was submitted at the end of the this work work has since been integrated into the city's administration in the financial year. I will speak this program, which is program 3. Here we're just looking at we monitor vacancies in the public service program, and we report annually in respect to this. And we're just giving a picture here that if you look at the statistics in 2015 to 2019, so we are just giving a 5-year view that 2015-16 we're 12%, and then we're 11% in 2016-17, 10% 2017-18 average, 2019-20 the reporting year we're at 9.61, 2018-19 we're at 9.61%, 2019-20 the reporting year, apologies, we are at 10.8%. The threshold is 10%. We shouldn't have vacancies above 10%. So we monitor all departments to ensure that their departments are not above 10%. Where departments have vacancies above 10%, we keep engaging with them so that we understand what their plan is, what are they thinking about filling vacancies. We also did some policy implementation support to national departments and provincial administrations on the implementation of the revised SMS PMDS and we had some national workshops and provincial workshops on the matter. The graduate recruitment scheme framework was compiled. We have a report on that, and I think we shared the report with the portfolio committee. I don't remember us sharing it with the select committee. That just looks at the total number of interns. If you look at the graph on the side, you would see that the total number of internships, including learners and apprentices recruited in the public service over the 5-year period from 2014-15 were 43,645, 15-16 were 30,708, 16-17 we were at 46,905, 17-18 were 28,158, 18-19 were at 29,000, and the 18-19 intake, most of them, because then it was extended to 2 years, 24 months, so most of them were still in the system during the 19-20 financial year. The 19-20 data is not yet available to be presented during Q4 of 2020-21. It's a data that we're still cleaning up and working on. Another area that we monitor is discipline management in the public service, in particular precautionary suspensions, because they have an impact in terms of managing wastage in the public service. I will, when I speak on the interventions as well, just give you an update on some of the work that is being done in this area. But if you look at the numbers here, you'd see that in this 5-year trend on the average number of days taken to resolve disciplinary cases. So in 2014-15, we took 257 days. In 2015-16, 248 days on average. In 2016-17, sorry. In 2016-17, 225 days. 2017-18, 177 days. 2018-19, 146 days. And on average, a 5-year average was standing at around 211 days. Then there are reasons why departments give why they have not complied with the prescribed 90-day period. These include non-availability of chairpersons and initiators, the diverse nature and complexity of cases, what they term interference, political interference, and lack of protection for key witnesses, especially in cases involving fraud and corruption. In order to ensure compliance with the prescribed 90-day period, the department is undertaking a number of activities. We've written to the accounting officers. We have reconfigured PESAL as well in order to capture the information. And we've looked out at rolling out a capacity building program for our initiators and our chairpersons. And we are developing an audit methodology, but I will speak in detail about some of the interventions also on the part of the minister when I do the update part. The quarterly reports on the implementation of the government employee housing scheme were submitted. As at March 2020, 651,358 employees were receiving the government employee housing scheme housing allowance for home ownership, and 261,964 employees who do not own houses were also receiving allowance for renting. A total of 8.6 billion was saved in the individual linked savings facility. The report of the establishment of the housing finance solution for the housing scheme has also been produced. In terms of Program 4, Government Chief Information Officer, the priority of e-government initiative to support digital transformation for the public administration was submitted within the required deadline. Public service information standards submitted as well, and the revised corporate governance of ICT policy framework also submitted. Now this graph is just showing you one of the things that we do is to monitor ICT expenditure in the public service. And the report on ICT expenditure by all national and provincial departments within the public service indicates that above 40 billion has been spent since 2015. And 2018-19 recorded an increase of 11% to the base ICT expenditure of 2017-18. So the year we're reporting on recorded, no, 2018-19 is the year before the one we're reporting on. I don't have the confirmed figures yet for the 2019 financial year. The reasons for the increase, amongst others, are network and hardware, which have recorded the highest expenditure for all national and provincial departments. In addition, the continuous increase in ICT expenditure can be attributed to cost of ICT operational support, upgrades of equipment, security software installations. This is one of the areas that have been identified as an area of wastage in the public service, and which MPSA presented on in cabinet, I think in February this year. And there were a number of processes that we are embarking on, including through the current cluster system to monitor this expenditure in terms of ICT and to ensure that there's a better integration in terms of ICT capabilities in the public service and public administration at large. In terms of Program 5, Service Delivery Support, here we have a operations management framework, and we had about 3 departments that were implementing, and a report, because they were piloting, a report was completed in terms of this. The key issues here are really to support departments with the business operations or business processes rather. The report on the institutional framework for the establishment, promotion and maintenance of service centers was submitted by the required deadline. You would know that the DPSA is running a center as a pilot at Maponya Mall, a service center, basically bringing in the local government services, the provincial government services, and national government in a one-stop shop kind of arrangement. And this was done as a pilot with the hope that other departments will replicate, or rather the relevant service delivery or local government would take up and replicate this. The project is running until, I think, 2024, and we are in conversations with various institutions that could take over the project, because the department is not an implementing arm of government, but a policy department. So we can't have projects in our books like that are service delivery related projects like this one. The service delivery model was developed and submitted. The aim of this model is to guide departments in terms of service delivery. We've also done work on the SDIPs by all national and provincial departments. And from about 225 SDIPs submitted to DPSA in the 2018-21 SDIP cycle, 84 over 125 annual reports for 2018-19 financial year were submitted to DPSA. And we are showing here the summary of the submissions by the various departments. You can see that national departments, 10 submitted. I'm just looking at the lowest. Lowest is Northern Cape, 4 submitted. But there's engagements with the departments, with the provinces in relation to these matters and departments. And then in terms of the Batupile standards by all national and provincial departments, we've done our report on that one. These are some of the highlights that are coming out of the report. Chairperson, I won't go into detail with them. And then also we've done our inspections and unannounced visits in a number of service sites, and we compiled a report in relation to that, including some of the issues that require attention to the relevant departments. Program 6, which relates to governance issues in public administration. Here, there is a proposal that has been established with respect to the national administration and head of public administration. This is an issue that comes out of the NDP, and when we update again in the next slides, we will indicate to you that already there is a proposed legislative amendment on this issue. The guidelines to support implementation of the revised determination and on other remunerative work was also developed. The report on the adherence by public service employees in national and provincial departments to the directives on conducting business with the state, also done. I will again go into detail on some of the work that's unfolding in respect to this area. This is just to show members we do e-disclosures on an annual basis where employees disclose their interests. And this is just to show the compliance rate of employees below SMS. Currently, I mean, in this reporting period, we have finished our, I think for this year, we have finished now the declarations, and I think if the committee wishes for a briefing on that, we could also provide that information, but I have not included the detail on that particular issue. Just on human resource management, Chair, our total number of employees as at 31 March 2020, this is an equity slide, which is indicating that we have, I think, a larger population of the employees being Africans, followed by whites, followed by Indians, and followed by coloreds. And in terms, so we use the equity targets and the guidelines here every time we do recruitment to ensure that we're within the equity guidelines or targets. In terms of female representation at SMS, at the time of reporting, we had 51% males and 49% women. I know now that we're on 50% males and 50% women. And in terms of people living with disabilities, we are at 3%. And in terms of vacancy rate, we were at 15% of the vacancy rate. I would like to take you through some of the reasons why our vacancy rate is above 10%, which means it's high, is a result of there was a delay in filling posts or a hold in filling positions as the department was involved in reviewing the structure in the same period. The structure had since been approved, and we started rolling out in the current financial year, starting with the SMS level. And I think and then there were engagements with labor on the non-SMS, which is a microstructure. We completed those engagements now in September this year, and we got the approval from the Minister of the Microstructure in October, and we will be busy with the filling of those vacancies as well. We have a recruitment plan that we have developed as an organization. Just an update on current projects, Chairperson, what I thought I said I was going to speak on earlier on, as a part of wrapping up on my part before the CFO can take over the financial aspects. To address precautionary suspensions that are 12 months and longer in the system, the MPSA has hosted one-on-one sessions with executive authorities in identified provinces and departments. So far, he has met premiers of Northwest, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, and Free State, as well as the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, and the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services. DPSA also provided technical assistance through discipline management workshops to Northwest, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and Free State, as well as Department of Correctional Services. We still have other workshops to follow in Northern Cape, as well as the security cluster, national departments. Basically, at the end of these workshops, we update our cases. So the different people from different HR units bring their files into the workshops. The files are verified and they're updated into the new system or the tool that has been developed. And they are reflected in a report submitted to the MPSA and the relevant executive authorities. Departments are required to update the tool monthly, and DPSA uses that information to monitor progress and identify challenges. We are also in the final stages of developing a guide on discipline management. We have a draft that we are consulting on. The guide is aimed to really help colleagues in provinces and nationally who are dealing with these matters in terms of how to manage these processes. We have also have a case backlog specialist who is assisting departments that are struggling to finalize cases within 90 days to develop strategies and plan. In terms of the lifestyle audits, as a second project I'm updating on, we have a framework for implementing lifestyle audits that was approved with a strategy and a draft guide. This guide is aligned to the National Strategy for Lifestyle Audits, which identifies our role as DPSA to be policy development and monitoring. In June 2020, DPSA met with reps from the Financial Intelligence Center, National Treasury, AG, SIU, NPA, and SAPS to engage on the framework and explore support as well from SAPS and NPA to conduct investigations and to institute prosecutions. This framework, the strategy and the guide were also discussed in this meeting. In September, a draft guide was shared with all ethics officers for inputs. These ethics officers are officials designated as ethics officers in all provinces and in national departments, as well as the principals. Sorry, Chairperson, a little bit. I'm in a meeting, baby. Please go. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. A lifestyle audit guide will be published. Or I was saying that this guide has also been presented to the GSIT cluster, Governance, State Capacity and Institutional Development cluster, which is constituted by all DGs, HODs, or their representatives from provinces and national departments. We will publish the audit guide, the lifestyle audit guide within the current financial year, and with ethics officers in departments who will have to conduct the lifestyle audits. The ethics officers are the first step in terms of lifestyle audits. They will be supported by DPSA and they will use the information that we have from the e-disclosures. As employees disclose their financial, as employees declare their interests, then we will use that information as, or their assets, we'll use that information as the main source. For cases that are complicated and require further investigations, law enforcement agencies will be involved. We will have a full rollout. The actual audits will take place in the next financial year. To assist the third area on officials doing business with the state. Here, basically what we are saying is that to assist national and provincial departments as well as local government to enforce prohibition on public service employees conducting business with the state, the Ministers of Police, Justice and Correctional Services and MPSA met in July and agreed to establish a multi-departmental team. This team is coordinated by the Director Generals of the respective ministries, and we are tasked to ensure that allegations regarding employees possibly conducting business with the state are investigated, and those found to be guilty are prosecuted. In August, the DGs met and approved an MOU. So there is an MOU in place now, which highlights the roles and responsibilities of each department. And this also is accompanied by a plan of action that we're implementing. And at this stage, we're focusing on 10 priority cases and on dealing with a list of 1,539 public service employees. These are the employees that were reported as doing business with the state, as possibly doing business with the state. On 28 August, the DPSA and SAPS trained ethics officers of all the implicated departments for them to be able to assess allegations, collect evidence, as well as draft affidavits where transgression of the prohibition was detected, and to institute disciplinary steps or to support the HODs in instituting disciplinary steps where necessary. On a monthly basis, we identify employees possibly doing business with the state so that they can be investigated. The departments can draft affidavits and hand over to SAPS. SAPS has confirmed, we handed over about 1,539 to SAPS, and there's been a process of cleaning up the number and verifying, because remember, we're saying they are possibly doing business with the state as picked up by the system. Some of them are people who are in audit committees representing another, like an employee of DPSA maybe is in an audit committee somewhere and they're not receiving an income within the state, but the system might have picked them up. So we've gone through all those cases and they've cleared the cases from 1,539 to 579 employees were confirmed to be conducting business with the state. They are accounted as follows. National departments, we have 157, Eastern Cape 43, Free State 35, Gauteng 42, KwaZulu-Natal 137, Limpopo 38, Mpumalanga 52, Northwest 9, Northern Cape 43, Western Cape 23. The implicated departments with the 579 employees are preparing affidavits in order for SAPS to register investigations. The HODs of these departments are aware of these cases because we write to them as DPSA as well. SAPS is also in advanced stage, according to their reports, of finalizing investigations into their own cases. They found that out of the 78 cases of SAPS members possibly conducting business with the state, 49 were found to be acting directors of companies registered at CIPC. Disciplinary processes against these members are in different stages, with 7 criminal cases and 1 criminal inquiry registered. The last area of update is the single public administration. This slide, I'm just highlighting the approach that we are taking in relation to this project, but I'm sure at the appropriate time, a much more detailed briefing could be done for the committee. A single public administration needs to be introduced to leverage on existing legislation with better coordination, and we had proposed that the different pieces of legislation be retained. So there's some of the legislation that would be affected with single public administration include the Public Administration and Management Act, Public Administration Management Act, PAMA, the one that was enacted in 2014 from DPSA. It includes the Public Service Act, includes as well, there's issues around the PFMA, there's relevant chapters in the PFMA that must be aligned as well, sections. There's also the Municipal Structures Act, which may also require some adjustments by the Department of Department of Cooperative Governance. So we highlight some of the following critical areas that are not catered for in legislation currently as it is, but which are necessary for a single public administration contemplated in Chapter 10 of the Constitution must be introduced. Removing unjustifiable disparities across government, including public entities, clearly defined employment practice framework, including remuneration and conditions of service that covers all employees, clearly defined mandating arrangements. Measures to ensure alignment of norms and standards across the public administration must be introduced. Currently, you have local government with its own norms and standards. You have DPSA with its norms and standards for national and public, for national and provinces. And you also have entities and the departments responsible for them having different norms and standards. So we're saying there must be an integrated approach. These are some of the areas that we are looking at in terms of legislative amendments. An issue around transfers of employees, ensuring that there's easy access and transfer of employees from the different spheres, and also retaining National School of Government as a national department, not an institution of higher education, introducing uniform norms and standards across government, removal of unjustifiable disparities on remuneration and conditions of service in the public service, local government and public entities. There's some technical amendments as well that we have to do. In terms of the Public Service Act, these are some of the amendment areas that we're looking at. Appointment and career incidents of heads of departments. We are clarifying the powers of the president and premiers in relation to this. There seems to be lots of confusion, and there's conflicting case law on the matter. Some believe that ministers can suspend and fire DGs, and in provinces as well, MECs can suspend and fire HOD. So we need to clarify the matter once and for all in terms of the legislative amendments. As it is known, the powers rest with the premier and the president, with the premiers and the president. Recovery of overpaid salaries and benefits. We need to provide a mechanism that allows an employer to make deductions from an employee's salary whilst ensuring a fair process that is constitutionally sound. So the employer can't just get into the salary and take all the money of the employee. They have to make an arrangement with the employee, and they must also look at the issues of affordability from the side of the employee. Devolution of administrative powers to heads of departments, to provide for administrative powers to be vested with heads of departments whilst retaining strategic and policy functions with the executive. It creates a lot of instability in the public service when there's a challenge of a relationship between the executive authority and the head of department, and the executive authority withdraws all the delegated power, because the executive authority delegates according to the current system, withdraws all the executive power, all the delegated power to the DG or to the head of department, and it creates lots of instability and lack of progress in the department. So those are things we want the legislation to be quite solid on, and these are also, we're aiming to implement some of the recommendations or decisions or policy guidelines that are coming out of the National Development Plan. The last area, the head of public administration, here we are basically providing for the Director General in the presidency to be empowered to play this role of head of public administration, which will also play a role in in managing or the career incidents of heads of departments. It's the work the Director General does, but it's not legislated and formally acknowledged. Just in terms of our milestones so far, in terms of this single public service process, as far as it relates to amendment legislation, to amending the legislation, we have done our consultations at the level of the cluster, both the DG's ones and the minister's ones. We have presented to SALCA X, because SALCA is a very critical stakeholder in this process. We have presented to the Cabinet Committee. We have a technical committee that comprises of reps from SALCA, from DCOG and DPSA. The consultations are planned to roll. We have presented to the Cabinet Committee and we've been given a green light on the matter. The consultations are planned to go up until the 30th of June, and we're hoping, or we're planning at that stage that we would have a draft amendment bill that could be submitted to the parliamentary processes. Chairperson, on that note, I would like, with your permission, to request that the CFO takes us through the financial report, and we will be done. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks, DG. The CFO can continue.
Thank you, DG. Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Honorable members, and also good afternoon, Minister. I'm just quickly going to take you through the financial status as at the end of the financial year 31 March 2020, as audited by the Auditor General. In terms of our budget, the budget for the department as a whole, including the entities, was 993 million 343. And if we look at the table displayed on this slide, the budget for the department only, excluding the entities or the departments that we transferred to, stood at 488 million 772,000. And out of that, the actual expenditure at the end of the year was 450 million 394, which converts into 92.1% of the budget. The unspent budget was standing at 38 million. We indicating to the members, the honorable members, the split of the budget performance in terms of Program 1 up to Program 6 in terms of our budget structure. The main reasons, the one reason that is a common denominator of underspending is, as indicated earlier on by the Director General, is the filling of vacant posts. We had a number of posts that were funded, but we could not fill them as we're still busy finalizing our restructuring. We are almost done with that, and we have already embarked on a process of filling all the posts that are vacant and funded. So that is basically the common denominator in terms of all the underspending that is indicated on the column of unspent. But again, when you look at Program 1 administration, part of this underspending also relates to a saving that we had and on the office accommodation, which we actually pay to DPWI, which is Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. And the other underspending was also in relation to some of the invoices that could not be submitted in time from CETA, because we have also our CETA contracts in terms of our IT internally in the department. Which underspending is also on Program 3, Public Service Employment and Conditions of Services. This is mainly the government employee housing scheme, which has got a budget that is actually ring-fenced. So there have been a bit of some slow spending on that under GEHS, which is Government Employee Housing Scheme. Hence, there's an underspending of 14 million. Below the total of 488 million, we indicating the three departments that we transferred their budget to in terms of the budget vote. The Center for Public Service Innovation had a budget of 38 million, which we transferred 100% of it. National School of Government also, it was one of the departments that we had by the end of the financial year, we were transferring funds to. They had a budget of 187, which we transferred to. And lastly, Public Service Commission, 278 million was their budget, which we transferred 100% to them. Honorable Chair, we are actually reporting the actual transfers under those three departments, but we are not actually saying this is what they spent. They have their own expenditure. And just to also to remind honorable members is that they were in this new financial year, which started in 1 April 2020, we are no longer transferring to both Public Service Commission as well as National School of Government. They've got their own separate vote now. They get their funding directly now from Treasury. In terms of this slide, we're indicating and reporting to honorable members the same information, but in this case, it's very clear in terms of the economic classification. And it also indicates how the spending took place. We indicating compensation of employees, which is salaries budget of 303 million. Out of that, we spent 290, and 13 million was underspent, which converts to 95 or 96% of the budget. That is basically the reasons that I indicated, the vacant posts that were not filled during the year. Goods and services also 175 out of 175 million budget, we have spent 151 and 86, which converts into 86.5% of the budget. I've already indicated the reasons around GHS, DPWI, and also CETA contracts, and some of the savings around cost containment measures like traveling and catering, which we reduced in the previous financial year. The transfers and subsidies is mainly a budget of 508. It relates to the three departments that we transferred funds to. In the next slide, we're reporting to Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. The next slide, please, DJ. In this slide, we're indicating basically other information, which is the 30 days payment. We did not have any payments that exceeded 30 days period. We actually paid all our suppliers. Our average days of paying our suppliers is between 10 and 11 days, and maximum is 12 days. So we, in that area, we've been doing well for the past, I think, 5 years or so. We have never had an issue around payments of suppliers within time, in time. We did not incur any unauthorized expenditure during the 2019-2020 financial year. Neither did we incur any fruitless and wasteful expenditure during the year. The only fruitless expenditure that we had during the year was an amount of 8,000 rand, which was recovered during the year. So in terms of our balance of fruitless and wasteful expenditure at the end of the year, it's zero. So because we recovered the money directly. Irregular expenditure also, we did not have any irregular expenditure during the 2019-2020 financial year. And this information, Honorable Chair, has been confirmed by the Auditor General during the recent audit. One other issue that I want to also indicate to Honorable Chair and Honorable Members is that AG was also tasked to audit the COVID-19 related expenditure for the department. And they did audit the entire expenditure and did not raise any fines on the expenditure. So they found that there were no findings that they raised. So we have complied with all the Treasury regulations and practice notes in terms of reporting, as well as how we sourced the quotations and how we spent how we incurred the COVID-19 related expenditure. Honorable Chair, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I thank you.
Thank you, CFO, for the presentation on the financial performance. Let me again extend our a word of welcome to the Honorable Minister. Your presence is highly appreciated. Probably before we go to the next level of engagement, let me confirm with the minister as to is there any input that the minister will want to make before we engage with the presentation? I take that is the minister in? Let's then in the.
Yeah. Yes, I'm in.
Okay, Minister.
I'm in, Chair. Yes.
Thank you. We wanted to check as whether is there any reflection that the minister would want to make, because we wanted to give you a platform to lead the charge in the presentation of the annual report. Unfortunately, there was a struggle with the connection.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. Well, this is a meeting where the department is accounting, and on top of another accounting via Auditor General, and therefore it's a very, very high profile meeting. And all we are saying is that we regard issues of compliance, issues of accounting, especially financially, the financial side, where you include audit. We regard that as sacrosanct. That you do your work and you step aside, and then Auditor General comes and look at your books and the results of your work. And when you come back, they give you results, and your job is to accept results and accept criticism where you have shown weaknesses and so on, and not so much spend time debating. And therefore, we accept the results of the Auditor General and we appreciate them, but at the same time, we take this opportunity to express our appreciations to our officials, especially the accounting officer, the CFO, and everybody else who made a contribution to this. And we're saying to them, well done. But we know at the same time, and we will say this to them, that they can still do better, because in the report of the Auditor General, I did see some yellows. There is areas of improvement that we need to attend to. But there's no way we can go back to any other level of audit outcomes other than what we have achieved. And that is very important to be guided by that. We go on to say all of us are full-time in our work. And issues of compliance, you look at what you want to do against the regulations and the law, and then you comply on the spot. You don't do something and then you look at the law and regulation the following day, because you might not find it to cover what you've already done. And therefore, it's as straightforward as that. But all in all, we're saying we're committed to improvements in all our areas of responsibility. Of course, it's not easy. And I did note what DM said at the beginning and what the DG was saying. Some of the areas that DG was reporting on are really very hard, and they are going to need quite a lot of input on your side as the select committee and the portfolio committee on the side of the National Assembly, so that you have an increased understanding, especially those that have to do with the need to review legislation, the need to achieve single public administration and close fragmentation that is at the disadvantage of the state and resulting into some of the things that are unsustainable in the Republic right now as we talk. And so we, if you can afford it, I know we can make time and then make more presentations, much more detail on each of the things that we're reporting on. But all in all, Chair, we were saying this is where we are for now. But understand us to be worried about where we are showing weaknesses, or we haven't achieved the highest points as we should be at this point in time, but understand us to be working very hard on those so that next time we appear before you, we have higher achievements in terms of our areas of responsibility. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that reflection. In addition to what the Deputy Minister did reflect on at the beginning of our meeting. Honorable members, I will now open the floor for engagement. I've noticed that already Honorable Matebula has jotted down some few pointers. I'll ask the committee secretary just to read those points. Honorable Bratteseth, let's start with you.
Chair, thank you. Chair, I hope you'll apologize. Sorry, accept my apology that my camera is not on. We had a big storm here in Durban last night, and there's been a big disruption of telecommunications. So unfortunately, it's if you just accept my apologies. You know, I normally come on camera. Chair, what concerns me about the report, and first of all, I'd just like to welcome the effort of the department and the minister, and I see we are moving in the right direction, but there are still many matters of great concern. On page 16 on slide 16 of the report, it refers to the average time period for disciplinary inquiries to be conducted and completed. And in the last year, I think it was 211 days, which is well over double what it should be. And the things that obviously concerned me was the non-availability of chairpersons and initiators, which was addressed to some extent as something that is going to be, that there is an initiative to try and get more chairpersons and initiators. My concern is, why was that not picked up a long time ago, that we have that deficiency in the department, in the various departments? Chair, I come from personal experience in this regard. I mean, I've run disciplinary matters for the last 20-25 years in my job previously as a forensic financial investigator. You would not normally even start with the matter if you don't know if there's a chairperson and an initiator. So I find it extremely concerning the department's only picking that up as a problem now. And so why was it not picked up, and what sort of timeline do we have that we will have a full raft of people that can handle this sort of work? It's absolutely vital for this committee to know that. The other issue, and I really would like the minister to comment on this, but even if the DG and I don't know if the DG was one line there, political interference. This committee needs to know, what political interference are we talking about that assisted in the delay of now double the time? I think this committee deserves an explanation as to what political interference was present and what has been done to remove that political interference. That's vitally important. The one other concern, Chair, is that one of the reasons given is protection for witnesses. But in the remedial action being planned by the department, there is no mention of what the department's going to do about protecting witnesses, our so-called whistleblowers. There's no remedial action there. So can the minister please comment on what remedial action is being envisaged to protect witnesses? Last two items, Chair. Doing business with the state. We hear about this every single time the department comes to the committee. We hear that there are plans. We hear that it's in process. I know that the legislation that came out in this regard goes back as far as 2014, and then was implementation date in 2016. And here we are sitting at the end of 2020, and we still have no detail. And I would like to request to you, Chair, if you approve this request, to be given a full report of all of these matters and where they are. Because this is something that this state has to get a handle on, is staff doing business with the state. It is draining our resources to the point where eventually we'll run out of money. We really will. We will run out of money. And then finally, lifestyle audits is something that just seems to be flopping around. And I'm sorry to use language like that, but I'm sure members will agree that there's been so much talk about this over the past 3 or 4 years, but we still don't have a timeline. Now it's in the 2021-2022 financial year. But can the department say we will start lifestyle audits on such a date and actually pin themselves down to it? And Chair, I say this in this, my final comment, in the background to the fact that the Western Cape government, and if we can maybe not be partisan, but the Western Cape government have already completed this exercise. Can the department not talk to the Western Cape government, who are partners in government with them, and say to them, how did you get it right to get it done so quickly? But it seems that we are just layering layer upon layer upon layer of extra work when another provincial government, you know, regardless of who runs that provincial government, has actually managed to do it. If Gauteng had done it, I would reference Gauteng. I would reference any provincial government that have done it. But Western Cape have done it, and I'm not making a political point here, but why is it they've managed to do it and we have not? And I just think that's important that we get a specific timeline on these lifestyle audits. Thank you, Chair. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Honorable Landsman.
Am I visible or must I switch off the camera, Chair? What's best for you?
Yeah, no, you are very audible.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Let me first and foremost, I'd like to greet the Minister for always taking time to come and listen and explain and account to the committee. Your effort and energy is appreciated. What we need to also do is to ask you to please focus on the following happening. First and foremost, allow me to express my appreciation on the department's achieving of a clean audit. Your team and yourself, you have done a great job. Keep up the good work. Continue helping other departments so that we can move in this beautiful direction. Thank you, Minister. A burning issue is the tensions around the public service wage bill. The public service wage bill, can the Minister give us an update on the matter? As a young MP, I'm interested also in the recruitment of graduates at entry level. Kindly give an update at various provinces. And also I want the Minister or the DG to explain to us, if we sometimes speak of there's too many people working in the state, while we are now currently reaching a 30% or more unemployment rate. What is the difference? Last week when the President spoke on the unemployment, he was very, very concerned. It was a great concern on the issue of the stats, especially unemployed youth. That's why I see the issue of from the Education Department of the teachers' assistants to try and address this one, the presidential one. So I want the Minister to please explain to us on that issue, where the issue of Northwest Section 100, we are going to do a follow-up on this issue again. And we want detailed answer, if possible, from the Minister. The Section 100 of the Northwest administration is causing a problem because of time frames and all other issues. Because of, we just need more clarity so that we can also explain to the communities and to the people what is happening exactly, because of it's going for more than 2 years, close to 2 years now on Section 100. So we want to go back to the issue of the clean audit. It's commendable. It's very powerful, Minister. Continue the good work. On the issue of the public service wage bill, please give us an understanding as the committee. What is the plan? Thank you, Minister. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Honorable Landsman. Honorable Dango.
I've been covered, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Dango.
For now.
Thank you.
Myself,
Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I think my video is going to, I'm going to switch my video because of my condition where I am now. It's raining, the weather is bad. First thing, Honorable Chairperson, let me also start to join my colleague to congratulate the department for having a clean audit. Keep up the good work that we're doing. To Honorable Chair, DM, in your department, I have seen that. Let me also applaud you to make sure that the issue of gender is considered. I have seen some of the slides where the DG show us 50% of the women that we deploy in their department. And I think, Honorable Chair, even the remaining vacancy, there is no doubt that the DM doing the work, the good job that we are doing to make sure that we deploy a female in your department. Question number 3, Honorable Chairperson, DG, you said 261934 employees receive rental for accommodation. I just want to check with you how much for each employee rental for 1 month. The last one, Honorable Chairperson, is on the issue of recovery of overpaid and benefit for employees. DG, I just want to check with you how many employees overpaid in your department and what is the reason to overpaid this employee. In the nutshell, Honorable Chairperson, let me also thank the department to have the clean audit and ke kopa hore ba tswele pele ka mosebetsi o motle e ba o etsang, and also just communicate with other departments to make sure that every department, when they are going to appear in front of us, we are going to be happy like we are happy today about your department, Minister and DG and your team. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mushodi. Honorable Lund.
Chair, I'm covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Lund. Honorable Mama Rakhani. Is Honorable Apleni in? Can we then request the committee secretary to read the questions that were posed by Honorable Matebula?
Thank you, Chairperson. The 3 questions reads as follows. Do we have public servants who are already suspended? Who's Chairperson? Let me start again. Do we have public servants who are already suspended who saw COVID-19 as opportunity to steal state resources, and how many are they? The next one. What is your department doing to deal with political interference, especially in fraud and corruption cases? what is your department doing in making sure that women are given opportunity to lead in key positions in public sector? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Just a few from my side. Let me also join the chorus that has expressed its appreciation on the clean bill of health that the AG has given to the department in terms of both its finances and performance. Indeed, that is great work to be commended, Honorable Minister and the Deputy Minister of the DG. And I think the example clearly is set from the ability to meet your performance target, and there is an area that that was explained in terms of why in all your programs one of the target was not achieved. But I think what is critical to me, Chair, is under program 2, transformation and modernization. Of course, there was a reflection in the milestone projects that the DG has referred to at the last part of her presentation on the issue of single public administration. This is an area that has been on the cards for quite some time, and of course we know the progress around that. But I think what is key is the buy-in of a local government, particularly given its areas that they have raised in the past around the constitutional space that the bill might be able to blur, given the fact that local government as a sphere is an independent sphere from the other two spheres. Of course, appreciating the fact that it is 3 spheres that are interdependent, though they are independent. So therefore, I think what is critical for me is the buy-in from local government, and also the interface between the minister and the Minister of Culture on this issue. At what period do we envisage this program of single public service administration to be completed? The second one relates to there's an area that speaks to under the HR human resource management, the issue of gender parity there. There's 51% male and 49% female. Is it the percentage that cut across all the departments, or is it specifically for public service administration? Does it also include our 9 provinces? If one can just get clarity around that. Of course, we appreciate the progress made around 49, 51, though I definitely would appreciate 50-50 gender parity. And the third one relates to the under program 5. There's also the intervention that the department is making under operation management framework, particularly with regard to the intervention that the that the department is making to provinces around and the departments around service delivery improvement plan. I think this is quite critical because as we have correctly indicated at the beginning, this is the last leg of the fifth administration. So moving forward into 2020-21, the expectation is that many of these provinces and departments would need assistance to ensure that there is a signage in terms of the work that the departments and provinces are doing with regard to ensuring that what is reflected in terms of the medium-term strategic framework find expression across all the departments and find expression across all the 9 provinces. So therefore, uniformity in terms of the service delivery improvement plan is quite important in terms of ensuring that we are all singing from the same hymn book in terms of the priorities that the president has outlined in the State of the Nation address. Lastly, is just to also appreciate the fact that last year when we met, no, it was the beginning of this year in February, when the department made a presentation. I think it was on the 4th of February. You did, there are a number of reports that you requested around a list of unemployed graduates, progress with regard to the establishment of the African peer review mechanism. Maybe if the minister can just probably share light in terms of that, in terms of how far we are. This is quite important, given our role in AU, because we are still leading the chairpersonship of that. Then the last point, just on what is the status of the community development workers program? Has there been any intention to try to improve this program? Thank you, Minister and the DG. The floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Chair. I will just take a few questions and leave the rest with the team. And we'll also ask to be excused for another commitment that I need to take. The first one is on disciplinary processes, all of them. I think we've taken a look on work that we've been doing in the past, writing letters, reminding EAs about this and that, raising a concern about this and that, and repeating concerns from Parliament and so on.